Everybody ready?
Oh, before we start, I got some shameless commerce here. Seabrisket Sugar Bush, part of the micro farmers of New Hampshire. My wife makes this maple candy, and I was just going to open a box of this and pass it around.
All right.
Thank you.
Everyone's welcome to have a piece, and
Thank you.
if you want more, go up to Moose Mountain and see her.
Well, I'll take one.
Here, pass it down here.
If you don't like maple syrup.
I'm not gonna like the candy.
Pass.
Thank you, sir.
I'm out of luck.
Anybody else?
Yes, please.
There you go.
Yeah, Jim.
Here.
Spit up that mint.
If you were making
Thank you.
bees honey, it would be a different story.
Beautiful.
Then I'd take the whole box.
I put in 5 hives last week, so.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, they died over the winter, so I got a lot of bees back again. So. I apologize in advance if I end up getting up and wandering around. My back's been hurting me, so I don't think I can sit for as long as Gary's going to talk. So.
That chair might be better.
Okay.
Yeah, I came in for
Sorry for stopping that.
Okay. Cliff's in there. Wait till get out. We're doing a roll call, Mr. Camp. Selectman Camp.
Okay. The date is May 14th, 2012. Time is 6:32 p.m. Gary Ciccarone,
Here.
Rick Charette,
Present.
Steve Machowski,
Here.
Ed Nason, Jim Freeman,
Here.
Rob Collins,
here.
Clifton Camp,
Present.
Ed Comeau.
Here.
So we are missing Ed Nason.
I have one alternate. We have one alternate and one
I
person.
see that. Would you be so good as to fill in? You're now an appointed member of the planning board for the evening. You take care of Ed's by Ed Nason. Wait, you both have the same name. Ed, would you be Ed?
Ed, yeah.
Great, works. Okay, let's start with announcements, correspondence, and mail. We got a couple of things. This is the town and city. If anyone would like to review that, it's right here. You'd be welcome to take it and do that. Also, Stratford Regional Planning is giving us an invoice for participation in the SRPC. Of course, we moved to not pay them last year and give them that benefit. Evidently, it's due again, and here it is. I would think it would probably be proper for us to revisit that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
you have no provision to pay that in your budget.
All we did was keep $1 in there.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we not pay that invoice this year.
I'll second it.
Is there any other discussion?
Did you put a past due on there from last year?
No, it's just this year's bill. At any rate,
Has the rate changed?
it's 809.49, 808.49, and I don't know what the rate was last year. They didn't give us that information here, but at any rate, have got past the discussion. Does anybody have anything else to say about this? Well, then, there's been a motion to not pay this invoice and not become a Stratford Regional Planning Commission member.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I believe that we have to, by law, be a member of a regional planning organization. So I believe that we still are a member there, but just not a
dues
paying
paying
member.
member, right, correct.
Okay.
So we are a member, but we are not a dues paying member. Do we, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any abstentions? then we are not going to pay this invoice and we can retire this to the old mail bin.
So we're a member by default, right?
Yeah, everybody's a member of one of the regional planners.
There's no
That's
discount
correct, I forgot that little piece of information.
It's the voting, right?
And this is more information from
You
them.
can vote 3 times. If you don't pay dues, you can vote once.
If we pay dues, we would have 2 members.
Okay.
Now we have 1.
I'm gonna put that out there for now. Okay,
I'm sorry, but before we go, Ed, you're our rep, right there. So do you know what your term is? Is that a 1-year appointment or multi-year appointment?
It's multi-year, I believe it's 2013.
Okay, so we're good still? Okay, cool, thanks.
okay, we're going to do something a little bit earlier than the chairman's statement. And that is, we are going to run the meetings a little less loose than we ran it last week. There aren't going to be any conversations that are sideline conversations during the meeting between different parties, because it makes a very confusing situation that no one can really follow. We also are going to address the chair. We're not going to address each other personally. That's the kind of way we're going to run this, because last week got to be a little bit interesting, and we're not going to have that again. I'm not going to tolerate any of it. We're going to run it like it's supposed to be run. So, that being said, let's move on to a few more little things here, and I believe these probably fall under correspondence and mail. I'm not too sure whether we should run this PBN for new business, probably. We'll save that for later. I'm going to give this correspondence to everybody, although it really doesn't fall under our purview for enforcement or anything. But I got this email from Cynthia Towell and David Berry. Hello, my wife will be certified in hypnosis and we plan on doing this from our house here in Brookfield. Are there any limitations we need to know about, or can we just start? We currently have a sign being repainted for hummingbirds on our lawn and would do the same type of sign for the hypnosis. We are adding nothing to the house and there's plenty of parking available in our driveway. Just wondering. And signed them. So that was sent to the board through me, so you've all heard it. I'm going to respond telling them that they should look at the ordinances to make up their mind as to whether they're in violation or expect to be in violation. We, of course, don't know what they're going to do.
Actually, at this point, it should be directed to the Board of Selectmen and the Code Enforcement Officer to make sure that.
That's where it's going to Ed.
To make sure that it's in compliance with the ordinances.
Ed's going to get this. He's not here. I would have had it in his hand already. Okay. This is your stuff. We'll leave that for later. Okay. That's pretty much the mail. Now we have public comments. Is there anyone here in the public that would like to make a comment? Hearing no public comments, then we'll move on. We're going to go to the review and possible approval of minutes for the April 9th meeting, so everybody's got a copy of them. Let's look them over. Where did I put them?
I move that we accept the planning board minutes of Monday, April 9th, 2012 as written.
Second.
Any discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
One,
Say.
Okay, so the minutes are accepted. Okay, let's go on to some old business. I've got some handouts for all of you. I mentioned, we talked CIP last week. I'm going to give everybody a copy of this stuff. I'm going to break it down. And these are certain things that I've done. Part of it as a member of the road committee. And no, let me. I have several documents that I'm going to assemble here. Everybody gets a copy of each. I mentioned that I was going to bring some of it in. This is just a small amount of some of the work I've done on CIP. Some of it overlaps.
This is one person's?
That's one person's, yes. I have lots of other stuff. We are not going to get into CIP tonight, other than I'm going to make a statement about it.
Do you want me to assemble this?
Yeah, go ahead, George. Give everybody a copy of all these things.
Do you have a copy?
No.
We had a discussion about the formula business last week. What I'm doing, and I haven't quite finished it, I've been swamped with design work at night, is I've prepared the formula to a degree, and I haven't finished laying it out in a format that's understandable by everybody. But I'm going to read something that is the prelude to the formula, because by hook or by crook, the formula is going in our report. It is going in. It's not going to be a votable thing, because I'm quite sure that everybody, when they see it, will not object, because it's simply a no-brainer. CIP, Capital Improvement Program, connotes action. It connotes something that's being done. And the program itself means that we're going to advise the selectmen. It's been stated that it's basically our job to make a list of what the town's assets are. Well, any 12-year-old child with reasonable intelligence could probably do that in 3 hours. That's not much of a job. Describing the condition of the assets, that takes a little bit of time, but predicting the future is impossible. Weather conditions, traffic conditions, none of that. The most powerful tool that we could possibly give the town is a way to assess what it's going to cost to do improvements to the roads. There's nothing better in the CIP that we could give them. A lot of CIPs don't have that. A lot of places like Manchester, Concord, Nashua, they all have it. It's part of their operating engineering structure in the town. No one needs to be an engineer to do this. Anyway, I'm going to read this. The formulas described in the document will empower the town as well as individuals to determine exact costs for road improvement projects at any particular point in time, given the current market costs for materials and installation. Industry standards may change from time to time, at which point construction procedures and costs may require updating to validate contemporary assessments. The formula results are infallible and incorruptible as long as the data inserted is accurate. The basis for calculating costs for materials and installation is primarily by square footage and or lineal footage, material thickness, density, cost of materials by tonnage, and cubic yardage. All formulas dealing with estimating costs contain variables. In the case of road construction or improvement, the variables will consist of those items that need to be accomplished prior to application of footage costs, i.e. culvert replacement or repair, road base renovation, ditching, tree removal, etc. Road base improvement, although a variable, remains within the parameters of the formula for determining quantities of materials. The cost factor may be indeterminate until discovery excavation provides necessary information for material quantities and installation costs. Under those circumstances, soft road base depth is unknown, for instance. The data insertion into the formula should be under the worst case scenario. Anyway, this pretty much describes the basis. It's done on a cubic yard, square foot, lineal foot basis, and it gives every human being in the town the power to assess what the road costs and why it costs what it is. This is a tool. That's all it is. And without a tool, there is literally no way to do this without simply going out and acquiring bids. And bids can be fictitious or erroneous. This is not a complicated thing. It's what I do professionally, and I'm offering it to the town for free. And seeing that this is not in ordinance, we're not putting this in the ordinance. This is simply a report to the selectmen. This is going to go in the report in some location. What we will do is discuss the format of it. I'm going to lay out the format that is used professionally. It can be altered a little bit as for order of perception, but that's really all I'm going to state. Next week or next month, I will bring in this formula and I'll pass a handout to everybody. I've got it halfway done, but I've been swamped. I haven't had time to get to it and finish it, but I will have it for the next meeting. So, and that's really all I've got for CIP tonight. I don't think we're going to get into it. I don't know, what, have you done any work on it, Rob?
I have not.
Okay.
Can I ask one question about the formula, though?
Maybe. I might answer it, I might not.
So, well, maybe I'll make it as a statement. So I think that whatever formula we come up with should be, in order to be useful to the selectmen, like the selectmen have a road committee that they constitute and reports to them as well.
I'm on the road committee, but go ahead.
So I think that it's important, because the road committee I know comes up with numbers, at least rough numbers for budgetary planning purposes and making sure that a proposed road project is about the right size for what would fit in a given year. I think it's important that any formula, any information that's in our report to the selectmen, in order to be useful to them, should be consistent with what the road committee as a whole is using for coming up with their numbers, or get the road committee to agree that, yeah, we should use this formula or whatever, right? It doesn't help to have two different ways of calculating two different numbers that don't agree.
I understand what you're saying, and the road committee isn't using any formula, really. What they're doing is I was involved in it, and to a degree. The last project ran almost $40,000 over budget. That disaster should never have happened. $38,000. So, but that's neither here nor there. I don't want to get into this on the floor for CIP tonight. We're going to do this next month. You made a statement, and I don't disagree with you. The road committee is going to be involved in it, of course. Everybody in the town is involved. But as far as I'm concerned, there should be no room for those kind of errors, 10, 15, 20%. That opens the door to all kinds of problems. So when we get the formula on the table and we all have something to look at, and I really am sorry I couldn't bring it here tonight, then we've got something to discuss. At this point, we're discussing the clouds that are going by, so.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with for a formula.
Okay.
It's exciting to have someone put the effort into presenting something to this board that might save the town money and make us all a little smarter.
That's the only reason I'm doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cliff?
The road committee works with what the road committee has in front of them with the lack of a CIP program. Once the CIP program is put in place and is accepted and adopted, then all going forward, the town government would be required, or I don't know if that's the right word, but would be guided by that CIP program.
Okay, can I answer that briefly? Basically, CIP programs consist of telling people what's going to happen in the future.
Right.
That's up for grabs. Weather conditions, traffic volume, who knows? Everything changes always. The only thing that doesn't change is the method in computing costs. That's the only thing that never changes. With the variables that belong in all formulas, there are variables. That is what should be in the report as well. We're going to give them, well, we see this priorities of the roads and this and that, and they may change. The methodology to cost out a project never changes. That stays consistent. Unless industry standards change. They come up with some new kind of asphalt or something else that costs less. Well, then we have a whole different picture. But anyway.
Two things. The town adopted back on 3/13/2001, Article 12, to see if the town having a master plan adopted by the planning board in 1990 will vote to authorize a planning board to prepare and amend a recommended program of municipal capital improvements projects over a period of at least 6 years in accordance with RSA 674:5. So back in 2001, it was mandated by the town, because they pretty much unanimously voted yes, to have a capital improvement program put into Brookfield. And 11 years later, we're getting around to it. But also keep in mind that a capital improvement program is not just roads. It's your buildings, it's your infrastructure, it's everything that makes the town tick, that could or needs improvements.
Well, I'll just go one back. The roads are the most costly next to education, and I'm personally not qualified to assess the education system and its performance on a management basis. I can tell you I don't particularly care for state-run schools, but that's just my opinion. I am qualified to donate this particular cost method of figuring things out, and all it does is give the town a tool. That's all it is. It doesn't tell them what they have to do, what they don't have to do, doesn't prioritize anything. It's just a tool for calculating cost. And that's going in. Okay, enough said. Let's go on. Conditional use application, proposed appendix and rules of procedure. We have that business attached to our minutes. And I would say George only gave us the portions of it in this document that had the changes. So,
Mr. Chairman, I believe that there was a separate handout that's been updated from what's attached to the minutes.
Yes, there's.
Oh, yes.
yeah. But I mean, I'm going to give it to George to go over the changes, because he's worked so ardently on it. Go ahead.
I do want to remind the planning board that I was actually working under Rob Collins, who actually recommended all the changes here. According to our last meeting. On page 16 of 16, the very last line, S, where it says application for conditional use permit, Rec 1 district, that's the new addition. There was no other changes on pages 1 through 15. The next change takes place on page 2 of the comprehensive application form. And if you go to down about 3/4 of the page where it says conditional use permit, all of these changes, by the way, are italics and also underlined. Conditional use permit, complete pages 1 through 4, all the way to where the last line of that section where it says mail forms as per a butter notification form. It'll be the second page of the handout.
So on that one, we should make sure that everyone's comfortable with which pages we're telling them to fill out of the application. So here we're saying you got to fill out the Appendix S, right? That was the new document, but also all of these other applications have some shared components. And so I just made up pages 1 through 4A, right? That seemed reasonable to me, but if that's not right, I just want to call to everyone's attention that that's something that has not in particular been reviewed by the board before. And also we should make sure that there's not anything else other than conditional use application Appendix S, application fees, and mailing labels that we need them to submit with this.
The next page where there was a change is titled Appendix N. Excuse me, there's one before that. The next page is actually page 4 of the comprehensive application form. And near the bottom, where it says conditional use permit fee, and then number 1 through 4, it has per use with the fee of $100 administration / application, public notice and notification fees. and then it has the statement complete below. So that was added. On the third page of this handout is titled Appendix N. The words after abutter notice 4, okay, previously there was only subdivision site plan review and lot line adjustment. Additionally, we added the words conditional use permit. Next page, Appendix O. The same thing, conditional use permit was added for the title. Appendix P, again, conditional use permit was added to the title. Next page, Appendix Q. Okay, under the line that says name of owner or owners, the next line is for subdivision / lot line adjustment / site plan review, comma, conditional use permit. That phrase, conditional use permit, was added to this document, Appendix Q. The same thing was added to Appendix R in the exact same place, conditional use permit. From Appendix S is an addition. There was no Appendix S previously. This includes all of the application for conditional use permit. The only other change that was made is at the bottom where it says application for conditional use permit, pages 1 through 7. Everything else is the same as was previously voted on for the board. There were no other changes with the exception of, let's see here, at the bottom of, if you turn back to the bottom of page 2 and page 4 of the comprehensive application form, which will be your second and third sheet of this document, you'll see at the very footer where it says revised question mark, because we're supposed to put a date in there as to when this was revised. Everything else is intact.
So those question marks online, I don't see them here.
Yeah, I don't have to throughout the rest. I just have it where it was originally put in the original document. But that may be something that the board may choose to do, is have a revision date for all of what we have.
Yes.
Well, it looks like it's, all this